Okay, can everybody hear me? I hope so. I don't know. Any sound coming? All right, perfect. Chat says they can hear me. So it looks like we've got Bill Biscos, Dark Side, on Bring Him Before Me, and Brad Kippel on Throne Room Mains. Looks like a AFA start. So Bill is going to be up against a little bit of a challenge here, as this is a really non-interactive deck that Brad's piloting. Bill Biscos looks like he's on a planetary subjugation, so he's got some TIE bombers maybe here we can see. Brad just pulling out docking bays, nice all foil deck, I like it a lot. So Brad started throne room, heading for the frigate, insurrection, staging areas, wise advice, so pretty standard start for what you would expect here. Bill, Bring Him, like I said, planetary subjugation. I think the key to this game is going to be it can Bill track TIE bombers, specifically scimitar squadrons, so that they become Destiny 7. That's what I think. Let me see if I can turn the volume up here. Let me know if that sounds better to anybody. All right, so Brad just passes the turn back after inserting AFA, and then here we go. Bill activates 3 force, pulls out a docking bay. Pretty standard setup, I think, overall. Death Star docking bay, probably an Emperor here, is what I would expect to see. Yep, Emperor to the docking bay, Wakamui, however you pronounce that. So we've got, ties, Emperor's power coming down. I'm pretty sure Emperor will move over to the throne room in a turn or two, maybe come down with Solace, so that's some good force activation that Bill's got going. One of the things that Brad's going to be looking to do early is force choke Bill, but a 2-2 system and an Emperor to a docking bay is a good way to get around that. I can try. This is as loud as my microphone goes, unless I start talking really loud. I don't have headphones, so hopefully you guys can hear me. I'll talk real close to the computer, and maybe that'll be a little bit louder for you. So it looks like Bill ships the turn back. Brad goes to pull a docking bay. Bill looks, so that tells me either Brad has Tatooine docking bay or Tatooine docking bay got activated. Unlikely that he doesn't play it, mostly because he's probably on some type of beggar draw their fire plan. So Bill gets an early verify on Brad, which is probably pretty good for him. Brad going with Luke deploy off of the Bring Him Before Me over to Home 1 docking bay, so he can get some more force activation for himself. Luke coming out of reserve deck is -2, then he deploys -3 to Home 1, so he gets a nice -5 deploy over to the Home 1 docking bay. So looks good for Brad there. He just draws up some cards and ships the turn back. So this turn I would probably expect from Bill to see him pull another docking bay, maybe play a guy. It's not like Brad's activating a ton where he could play like Revolution and somebody, or a spy and somebody like EPPOB to knock him out of a docking bay. So I wouldn't be surprised if I saw another docking bay and a guy go to a docking bay. Or Bill could try to start setting up early in space at Solace. A little bit risky because you could just run into something like a Captain Han on the Falcon. Brad's activated 11, or he has 11 cards in hand. He's only activating 8, so Bill might be safe for a turn, but really I think Bill's line of play here needs to be just try to continue to set up activation, draw for more systems, or Imperial Command for Piet to get Marigic to get a system, as we see Piet coming down. That way Bill can start setting up all the stuff he needs to up in space, and you know, he's got a couple of other key cards he's got to find. He's got to find Signar Fleet systems so that he can start his retrieval engine. Dreaded Imperial Starfleet coming down for Bill. Probably not going to be as impactful as it would be in other matches, just because Brad's early game here is all focused on AFA, anger, fear, aggression, and not really on force training or you know, setting up any type of bigger force strain. Here we see the Emperor move to the throne room so that in a pinch, if Brad does come down with a spy against Piet, well, he doesn't have enough force anymore because of Emperor's power going down. So to deploy +2 for characters going to the Death Star 2 sites, so Piet's probably pretty safe there, I think. So here we see Bill just draw a bunch of cards up to 11, which is pretty much what he needs to do. He's got like I said, he's still got a bunch of key cards that he has to find. He has to find Marigic, he has to find other systems, he needs to find Signar Fleet systems. He doesn't really need Vader at this point. Luke's not doing anything, and really this TIE deck is not a Vader battle deck. Vader's like a secondary afterthought to what's going to be going on here. He's just looking to set up his side of the board. It's kind of almost like solitaire at this point. They're both just looking for their sites while Brad tries to ping with anger, fear, aggression. So the more times that Bill can shuffle his deck, which he can do by pulling out Force Lightning every turn, the better for him. He just wants to keep all of the anger, fear, aggression just buried. There's the Tatooine docking bay that Brad didn't find, which is what he drew up for. Found another 2-0 site, and here comes Battle Plan, which Brad, like I said, is not really going to be doing a lot of force training, and probably the only battleground site this game is going to be Tatooine docking bay. There will be a bunch of systems out, I assume. We'll see Kashyyyk, Kessel, Kifix, Endor come out for dark side. Kessel might be on light side, but I think Brad plays probably Coruscant here to use on the Lieutenant Blount for ISB. So here Brad goes for a copy of the Signal, probably looking for maybe Gunite, probably not. More likely he's looking for, I'm going to guess, Beggar or Draw Their Fire or another Anger Fear, just to kind of set up what he's doing. Bill senses it. Brad goes and grabs the sense. Brad doesn't play Sack in this deck, so all the senses are going to be Bill's this game. Bill hits it, and the Signal goes used anyway because of wise advice. So Brad just draws a bunch of cards and passes the turn. Here we get Bill on turn 3. Again, Bill's going to be looking to set up his side of the board. Here comes Activate 3 and Twi'lek. Gonna go get Signar Fleet systems, almost assuredly. And that'll start the retrieval train for him, eventually getting out squadrons. And I'm gonna assume that the TIE bombers are not mostly the ones from Dagobah. I think you play the ones from Death Star 2 because they actually have Destiny numbers. So there are 2, and then you can add up to 5, making them Destiny 7s, which is pretty good. And anything in between, really, if you want it. So Bill does not get Sinar Fleet Systems. He gets Reactor Terminal, which means to me that he's got Sinar in his hand. So he's going to play a Reactor Terminal and then try to just dump a bunch of cards that are going to be useless for him at this point in the game. Things like extra copies of Command, although I guess he could use them to pull out more Admirals, but I don't really think that this deck's probably got a lot of Admirals. It's going to play Dreadnoughts, so it doesn't really have Chernu, and Ozzel is more of a liability than anything. The only Admiral you're probably really looking for there is Piet, and he had him early. So here comes Marajik. Get a system, my guess, Kashek, but I could see pulling out Endor or Kifix as well. Tatooine. All right, that's a spicy one. I guess we're going to see some Tarkin's Orders come into play because, like I said, I think the only battleground system is going to be a Tatooine docking bay. Here we see Firepower come down, and I don't remember exactly what this does. I think this is deploy on your side of the table each of your starships with 2 or more weapons is power +2, and during your deploy phase you can use 2 force to deploy 1 starship weapon. Okay, we're gonna see proton bombs here blow up the Tatooine docking bay. That's an interesting choice. I wouldn't be surprised if he's got a Yavin 4 in there to start blowing away Yavin 4 sites like War Room or Throne Room, or a Hoth to blow away the Echo docking bay and try and force choke Brad. But Bill just elects to draws up to 13, blowing past Grimtash range. I guess he could cycle some card, maybe short range fighters, but he's probably going to pull something else out with that. So I don't think he's too concerned about Grimtash here, which if I'm Brad and I see him draw up to 13, knowing he's got Dreaded Imperial Starfleet and probably a bunch of random ties, I don't think I'm Grimtashing him here. I'm Grimtashing used, but not lost. He doesn't have any doubles in his hand, and then Reactor Terminal is going to make sure that he doesn't have any more doubles for the rest of the game. So here comes a Gunite, which, to be honest, I don't really think is going to come into play too much this game. Sure, Vader. Maybe there's a Janus, maybe there's a Mara, but I kind of doubt it. Here we send Luke over to Tatooine docking bay, and here comes the first of the out of commissions. Brad probably playing about 3 or 4 of those in his deck. Cycling 5s are pretty good. Luke got his saber, and Brad just draws a couple cards and passes the turn back. I don't know if Bill really wants to go grab Luke. Flipping, bring him before me, and losing a force every turn for the rest of the game, probably a little bit tough, although they're on turn 4. This game's probably going to go to turn 9 or 10, which means that Bill's going to lose 6 force off of grabbing Luke here, which he might do. It's not a terrible plan, especially once you get Sinar Fleet Systems. You'll just retrieve that lost force anyway. I mean, it's not ideal. You don't really want to have to lose a force every turn, but it is a way to just get Luke off the table. Bill could also just elect to ignore it, drop a TIE bomber and a proton bombs, and pass the turn, I guess. After he does whatever else he's going to do, pull a system with Marajik, play a tie to space or something like that. He's probably just holding the ties for Sinar Fleet systems and for Dreaded Imperial Starfleet. I mean, he could just sit here and Dreaded Imperial Starfleet that drain on the ground for forever, while Brad has to pay 3 to drain for 2 and basically get no value out of it. So I don't really think Bill's under any pressure here other than to just continue to shuffle his deck every turn to keep the odds of AFA from popping. Here we see Commander Margic pull out a Kithix, so plenty of force, 16 force each that they're activating. Here comes the first of a Scimitar Squadron tie to Tatooine. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a proton bombs here. Try and blow away Luke. Blow away the only battleground site and force Brad to really come to space. You know, Community Big Cowards in effect. Brad probably playing Home 1 and Falcon in this deck. And yeah, I think Brad's under a lot of pressure to probably find his Home 1 or Falcon package, and Bill's just going to probably play and dance around in space. You know, Brad's really got to be looking for an order to engage here. Try and stack a huge Home 1 in front of a bunch of ships and force a battle. You know, he's got to grab all power to weapons in that case. And then really just try to get two or 3 Destiny every single battle and just eat through all the ties, which is not a great way to go about it, and Brad's deck's really not designed to do that. He's on sit and do nothing and sculpt my hand and hit you with anger, fear, aggression over and over and over again. So interesting kind of problem for Brad to face here. Obviously Bill could just miss the proton bomb. I think he has to get greater than 4, which you know, he's hoping he draws a TIE bomber so that he can just make it whatever destiny he wants it to be and blow away the site. If the site's blown away, it's no longer a battleground. I don't think anybody can deploy there. It's been a while since I've had to really play against blown away sites, but Luke would just be lost, which is why I think you kind of want it to grab him with, yeah, they're lost. So which is why I think you want it to go there with Vader, because then there's no battleground for you to use your destiny to punish light side for not having Luke at a battleground, unless he, you know, plays like a Presence of the Force or something. And then that just gives Brad the ability to play Luke out of his lost pile continuously and just forfeit 9 up in space over and over and over again. So something that Bill needs to really consider. Teacher in comments saying, yeah, cards are all lost, effects are not, so it can still be used for Beggar because it is still technically a Tatooine site. So that is a way for Brad to still use that. So Brad, Tunnel Vision, pulled a Grimtash. Grimtash used. Bill put about 7 or 8 cards back as he had blown past that. Home 1, First Officer Thanesby, Major Hashin. So all going down to Tatooine. Here I think we're going to see a good battle. Tycho, draw their fire. Scimitar Squadron has 2 abilities, so Brad is getting a Destiny, and he can add one with Emperor. But he is outpowered. Now, I guess he wants to draw his 2 Destiny of 2 Scimitar Squadron ties. Brad getting back Tunnel Vision off the draw their fire. Bill needs to lose a force here. Intruder Missile. He can just get that back with the firepower effect that he's got. at some point later in the game, so I don't think he really cares. Bill choosing not to use Emperor's Power here. I don't know why you wouldn't. You're not gonna you're not gonna crack Home One's immunity. Sure, you can make that a 7, but Home One's immune to less than 8. So yeah, Bill really needed 2 Emperor's Power there, so that he could get 2 Destiny, make Brad probably lose a couple guys. Bill is not going to be able to use proton bombs because it's in place of a force strain, so he can't force strain here, so he can't blow away the site. So Brad's just probably content to sit there. Bill, with only 7 cards in hand, probably doesn't have a ton that's going to be able to go beat that Home One. And he just loses his Proton Bomb and Scimitar Squadron TIE Bomber. And this does not really look good for Bill. He needed to draw a second Destiny there. Just lose a card. You'll eventually get them back with Sinar Fleet Systems, I assume. So Brad just drawing a couple of cards here, and he'll pass the turn back. Good point. Thinesby makes it so that the Destiny is a 0. So yeah, Bill was just screwed there anyway, however he wanted to do it. Thinesby just wrecked him. So yeah, that's my mistake. He should not have added a Destiny with Emperor's Power. Alright, so Bill activating, pulling out Endor, forfeiting the tie because that probably means he doesn't have a Dreadnought or any way to move the tie out of there, and doesn't have enough cards to reinforce it to take on Home One. So here we go. Let's see what we got. And Bill just drawing up a bunch. Now Grimtash is, lower down in the deck, so he's not really worried about Grimtash. He does have to lose to AFA here. Something was lost to AFA. What was going on with AFA? He used projective telepathy on it, so that makes sense. So yep, projective cancels anger, fear, aggression. Brad didn't have a grabber for projective, so that's good for him, or good for Bill, that's not grabbed. So he doesn't have to lose anything, and he just goes up to 20 cards. Like I said, Grimtash is somewhere down below middle of the deck. I mean, activating 18, I'm pretty sure that Brad is going to be able to go find the Grimtash again. He's got 28 cards in his, sorry, I'm just trying to rearrange this so I can actually see the screen. Thank you. He's got 28 cards, so between Home One and all those cards he put down, he will probably be able to find that Grimtash if he needs to. Bill, after drawing a bunch of cards, Imperial Commands, has nothing in his reserve deck for an admiral or a general, plays masterful move, pulls out monarch, and passes the turn back. Yeah, teacher, but he's activating 18 with 26 cards in his reserve deck. So he played home 1 and 3 pilots. There's an easy chance that he's going to be able to draw back into Grimtash. If he really wants to. Oh, I guess he played it as his very first action, so it's the bottom card of his deck. Okay, so he has to shuffle his deck, really, is what he should have done. Then I don't think he has a good way to shuffle his deck. Probably not. I guess activate 3 and signal is probably his best bet. So Luke drains, well, home 1 drains, and that gets canceled with a bomber going to Dreaded Imperial Starfleet. Luke drains. Bill loses a Twi'lek Advisor from hand and a Flawless Marksmanship from hand. Brad inserts Anger, Fear, Aggression, then plays Wedge to the docking bay, then plays Honor of the Jedi. So I'm not really sure what Honor's gonna do here a lot, other than I don't think this game's gonna revolve around damage at non-battlegrounds. I guess if Bill gets out a first strike, he'll stop that, but Tycho shuttles down to docking bay 94, so he's with Wedge. There's our Red and Rogue Squadron pilots together, so we'll cancel a Destiny. Luke spends 8 force to transit over to Death Star docking bay in front of Piet and Mergic. So this would be probably a spot where Bill is going to want to get out of the way of Luke. Probably move over to Executor docking bay, or just play a Vader and pick him up, and then move a Vader and Piet and Mergic in front of everybody at Tatooine docking bay. So Brad drew up a few. Bill activates 9 force, looks like. Assume he's going to use Reactor Terminal here, stack his deck. But who knows? Maybe he likes all 16 cards. I doubt it, though. Monarch lost. Alright. Fallen Portal, Han with Heavy Blaster Pistol, Sorry About the Mess, Weapon Levitation, Rebel Barrier, Insight, Admiral Akbar, Anger, Fear, Aggression, Leia with Blaster, Tunnel Vision, Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight, The Signal. So nothing on the part of that Monarch. Brad has a pretty good hand here. He goes to signal for something. I'm going to assume it's going to be Beggar. Makes it really hard to go battle into him with Wedge and Tycho. He's got a Fallen Portal. And gets a Grabber. Sure, why not? I guess that's for all power. I guess all power, short range fighters. Bill's probably got a bunch of other random things. We saw Flawless Marksmanship. There's probably like a bunch of like weapon interrupts that I have no idea what they do from Special Edition. There we go. Bill, Steinar Fleet Systems, Blast Door Controls. Going for it. Gonna go take on home 1. I had a little bit of force. gonna see oh, he's probably tracked down to that 6, the masterful move, if I would guess. So 6 plus 3 is 9. He's gonna shoot down home 1 here. That's what I would assume. He needs one more weapon that can fire at home 1. I guess he can use the firepower to deploy the other intruder missile out of his, unless the intruder missile was the card that went out of play with out of commission. I don't remember. I didn't pay attention that close, but flawless marksmanship lost to add 4 to his destiny. Grab flawless marksmanship. 6. Did you track it? 5 plus 4 is 9. That looks like it's a fail. Bill missed tracked. He was supposed to track to his masterful move that he played last turn. I think that was a mistake on Bill's part. Or he could have played the other intruder missile out of the lost pile. Fired that, missed, then fired again. Plus flawless marksmanship would have added 7. You would have needed a 2 to hit. Bill now, I guess, thinking is, unless he has a gick here, which I assume he's got a gick, but I was guessing, I think he meant to probably hit and then play relentless pursuit and make home 1 immediately lost. Ooh, peeling. That's bad. Yeah, it was probably a mistrack that was supposed to end with a relentless pursuit to kill, and there's AFA popping, to kill home 1 so that he didn't have to gick. And Bill just losing. Scimitar Squadron, Emperor, Jonas, Sense, Scimitar Squadron, Twi'lek, Vader, Scimitar, Intruder Missile, Twi'lek, Flawless Marksmanship. So here, Bill has 18 cards down, life and hand, 10 in reserve, 10 in life force. Brad has 18 just in his reserve deck. Brad is up 16 cards currently on him. Bill needs to get his. Bill probably needs to get his 2 guys out of. Well, I don't think he has really many options. I was going to say he needs to get his guys out of being in front of Luke, although AFA did pop, so he may want to. Well, he can't battle. Leia and Han are coming down, and that's going to be the end of the game, most likely. So, looks like Brad is probably going to win this by, he's going to cycle as many cards as he can out of his hand, which really is just the weapon levitation. Everything else he can't really do anything about. Han, Leia, they go down for 12 force, free battle, retrieve 1, lose 1. He's going to drain for 4. Bill, even if he loses 4 out of his hand, he's then only got 14. He's going to lose 1 more to draw their fire. Both of his guys are going to be hit. And Brad will draw into at least the signal that he used. He's got 8 cards. Signal's 4th card down. He's going to shoot a bunch of times, draw into a signal. I mean, this game's pretty much over. Tunnel vision. Oof. Go get Beggar. End of the game. It's the, what, 25 cards in reserve deck? Yikes. Oh, even more brutal. Brad just absolutely dismantling Bill Biscos right now. I think if he hit the home one there, he's still behind. Because then he's got to still move his guys off of the Death Star site, because Han and Leia are coming down, I assume. Piet guys to sorry about the mess. Marajik. Yeah, here comes Beggar. Assume that's what he got with his tunnel vision, because, well, we know that's what he got with his tunnel vision. He signaled for the grabber and had the sorry in his hand. So, Beggar, use your force. Han, Leia, good game. Doesn't even want Leia, just content to murder Bill. Pretty brutal. Yep, so Marajik will get hit. He's got, what, 6 cards left? No, 4 cards left. So the top card's the signal. Ooh, a react. Retrieve 3. Not gonna help. I guess it forfeits. So it doesn't... Ooh, another react. Nice. Retrieve 3 more. Okay, maybe. I mean, he's losing by a lot here. Hit Marajik. He's got 12 forfeit. Ugh. Yeah, alright, well, 2 destinies. Bill loses 1 to add a destiny. Draws a 1 and something. 4, 16 to 2 plus a destiny. So that's 14. The 2 ties will cover everything. So there goes Han. There goes Marajik and your 2 TIE fighters. Squadrons, whatever. Leia wasn't really going to change that math, I think. But I guess Bill hangs on for another turn. Now with 17 cards, which isn't normally terrible. He could conceivably claw his way out, but here we have Brad in just absolutely commanding fashion. Now, AFA did pop last turn, so he's forcing Bill to battle with the Emperor. Beggar goes lost. Pass turn back. And yeah, I mean, even if you kill Luke here, he just gets to play him again off of Bring Him Before Me. So you didn't really accomplish anything. Verifies his reserve deck. No Force Lightning. I guess he sees, what, at least a 4 in there from the concussion missiles. Activates everything. Gonna lose. He might have a projective telepathy. Fair. Although he didn't project, did he projective off of? I can't remember when it popped, when he was losing. Who knows? Who can remember? All right. Dengar to Tatooine Docking Bay. All right. I guess this is a forfeit from Bill. Put me out of my misery. Or he really wants his tie back. He's down by 10. He's got to lose Dengar in 5. I don't really know what the point of that was, other than to do 1 point of damage, which Brad's just going to lose out of his hand. Keep his life total high for differential. It's not like he could use the Rebel Barrier anyway. Blast Door Controls is in play. Brad's got 25. He'll retrieve 1 when he battles with Luke, so 26. And, all right. So we'll get a drain of 3 here. Maybe he'll dread it. Yep. And then drain of 1. Bill lose something. He's only got 11 cards left total. Love to see a surprise assault and draw 2 7s there, but or counter assault, but he doesn't have a force left. Counter assault would be pretty sweet in a TIE Bomber deck, I think. Point Man's gone, out of hand. Brad goes for a Docking Bay. Okay. Card out of hand. Makes it easier to hit the Emperor, I guess. Leia comes down. Akbar, so he gets to keep Luke. These are all cards out of his hand that we knew. Retrieve the barrier. Make Bill lose 1. Lose a random card, Bill. Maybe out of hand. Note Zuckuss off the top. Luke fires. And we'll see a 2. Do we get a... this is probably a 4, 6 miss. And a Destiny. Is Bill going to add 1? Probably not. You could just lose the effect, I guess. 2 Destiny. Let's see what you got, Bill. Brad draws a 4. 18. Total power there. Bill. Ooh, a 7. Nice. You got another one of those? No, 4. 11. So Bill loses the battle. Can forfeit just the Emperor to cover. Well, I guess he could lose 3 cards. Brad loses Akbar. Brad also going to probably lose Leia. I guess if you're Bill, you know that the Emperor's going to die. Yeah. No point in keeping it. I mean, the only point you would keep the Emperor there is to initiate a battle to retrieve one and make him lose one, he'll just lose one of the cards out of his hand. Emperor's going to die at that point because he'll have 4/4, so Emperor will get hit, and then that'll be the end of the game. So you're not getting any more force loss out of draw their fire on that one. I guess you could force through 2 more cards, which Brad's just going to lose out of his hand. 3, 4, 5, 6. Bill will have 2 cards left. Brad has what? Fallen Portal and some other card. I can't remember. I'd have to scroll back up to look at Monarch. So he's just going to probably pass the turn. Is what I assume will happen. He'll get drained for 2. Lose both the cards out of his hand. And then that should be game. He can't because he has a battle order. Alright, so yeah. Can't even make him lose 2 cards. Play a Scimitar Squadron, retrieve a card. Recirculate. Drain for 3. Good game. So it looks like Brad's going to win this one by 26 with 9 cards in Lost Pile. Bill will have 0 cards in Life, Force, or Hand and 35 in Lost Pile. So that looks like it's the end of that game. Well played and well executed by Brad to get home 1 and Thanespi out. I guess that's the key to that game. Alright, let's see if they're going to do their second game. If they are, I will probably stop this and restart a new stream. Alright, I'll be back in just a moment. Looks like they're going to do it. Alright.